In the heart of the sprawling plains, a cattle baron named William McAllister was known far and wide. With his tall, rugged stature and commanding presence, he was as tough as the cattle he raised. William had built an impressive empire, rising from humble beginnings to become one of the wealthiest men in the region. His ranch, Silver Horizon, stretched across miles of gold-tipped grasslands, where herds roamed free under the vast blue sky. Neighbors sought his advice and respected him for his business acumen, while many looked up to him as a leader. As the spring sun warmed the earth, excitement filled the air in anticipation of William's wedding. He was set to marry Evelyn Crestwood, a beautiful woman from an esteemed family with elegant ties in high society. Evelyn had an enchanting smile and a grace that captivated everyone who met her. The match was celebrated by both families as a union of power and prestige. Invitations were sent far and wide, promising a grand event that would be remembered for years. During the buzz of preparations, William found himself buried in paperwork and meetings. Every detail of the wedding demanded his attention. From selecting the perfect flowers to finalizing the guest list, it felt like he was orchestrating a grand symphony. Yet, amid all this chaos, his thoughts often drifted away to moments shared with Evelyn's younger sister, Lily. Lily was a vibrant, spirited girl with an infectious laugh. Unlike her elder sister, who embodied sophistication, Lily was wild and free-spirited like the wind rustling through the tall grass on the ranch. William had first noticed her at a recent dinner, where her youthful energy lit up the room. She had been telling stories and teasing William with her quick wit, sparking something inside him that he hadn't expected. As he silently prepared for the life he thought he wanted, a strange feeling began to take root deep within him, a feeling that made him question what true happiness meant. Though committed to marry Evelyn, images of Lily danced through his mind, leaving him torn between duty and the stirring of unexpected emotions. Little did he know, this conflict was just the beginning of a story that would change everything he held dear. The day of the Crestwood family's spring gathering arrived, filled with laughter and joy as friends and family came together to celebrate. The sun shone brightly, casting a warm glow over the sprawling estate where the event was held. William McAllister felt a familiar sense of duty as he mingled with the guests, exchanging pleasantries while keeping an eye out for Evelyn. However, it was not his bride-to-be who captured his attention that afternoon. As he stood near the edge of the garden, admiring the vibrant flowers, William overheard a burst of laughter nearby. Turning his head, he saw Lily Crestwood dancing playfully with a group of children, her hair shimmering in the sunlight like spun gold. She twirled around, her long skirt flowing like petals in the breeze, and her infectious laugh rang out like church bells. It was a sound that seemed to draw everyone closer, lighting up the atmosphere with pure joy. Intrigued, William took a few steps closer, captivated by her playful spirit. Lily's charm was undeniable. She had an effortless way of making everyone around her feel at ease. As she spun around again, she caught William's eye and flashed him a bright smile that made his heart skip a beat. There was something refreshing about her carefree nature, a stark contrast to the more formal elegance of Evelyn. "Will you join us for a dance?" Lily called out with an inviting grin, her eyes sparkling mischief and warmth. Before he could respond, she grabbed his hand and pulled him into their circle. In that moment, William felt a weight lift off his shoulders as laughter enveloped him. They danced together under the open sky as children giggled and twirled around them. With each step they took on the grass, William found himself drawn deeper into Lily's world, one filled with spontaneity and life. She shared silly stories from childhood that made him chuckle and teased him about how serious he looked amidst all the excitement. As they danced and played, William couldn't shake off the feeling that this moment was special. In Lily's presence, he felt lighter and freer than he had in months. Little did he know that this innocent encounter would soon stir feelings within him that would disrupt everything he thought he wanted for his future. After the spring gathering, William found opportunities to see Lily more often than he expected. With the wedding date approaching, Evelyn was busy with final preparations, allowing William and Lily to spend time together without raising suspicion. One sunny afternoon, William visited the Crestwood estate to discuss details about the wedding with Evelyn. As he walked through the gardens, he heard laughter again. This time, it was Lily playing a game of tag with other children. He paused to watch her, noticing how effortlessly she engaged everyone around her. Her laughter rang out like music, and it made him smile without realizing it. "William, come and join us," Lily called out, her eyes sparkling with excitement. This time he didn't hesitate. He joined in the game, running alongside her, feeling a sense of freedom he hadn't felt in years. They chased each other through the garden, and for a moment, William forgot all about his responsibilities and worries. In the following weeks, their encounters became more frequent as they bumped into each other at family dinners and gatherings. Each meeting was filled with easy conversation and shared stories. While Evelyn prepared for her wedding, Lily would often ask William for advice on riding horses or caring for cattle. She listened intently to his tales of ranching life and asked questions that made him feel valued. One evening, William invited Lily to join him on a horseback ride across Silver Horizon. As they rode under the golden sunset, William shared his dreams of expanding the ranch while Lily spoke about her aspirations beyond marriage and societal expectations. Their discussions revealed new facets of each other that deepened their bond. The growing connection between them felt effortless, a beautiful friendship blossoming like wildflowers amid summer grass. Yet, as they spent more time together, William couldn't ignore the butterflies that danced in his stomach whenever their hands brushed or when he caught her gaze lingering on him. With every laugh shared and every secret exchanged, William felt an undeniable spark igniting between them. Yet he also wrestled with guilt. After all, he was engaged to her sister. As they stood together under the starlit sky one night, chatting softly about their hopes for the future, he realized that this friendship was becoming something more complicated, something that could change everything he thought he wanted. As the wedding day approached, the Crestwood estate buzzed with excitement and activity. Colorful decorations adorned every corner, flowers bloomed in vibrant arrangements, and guests began to arrive from far and wide to witness the union of two prominent families. William McAllister felt the weight of anticipation in the air, a bittersweet blend of joy and anxiety swirling inside him. On the morning of the wedding, the sun rose with a golden hue, casting light on the bustle around him. Evelyn was radiant as she prepared for her big day, surrounded by her family and close friends who fussed over her attire and beauty. William caught glimpses of her through the crowds, and for a moment, he reminded himself of the love that had brought them together. Yet, as he walked through the estate, his heart remained heavy with conflicting emotions. Every time he spotted Lily, helping with last-minute arrangements or laughing with the children playing nearby, it sent a jolt through him. She was beautiful in her own right, a mix of sweetness and spirited energy that drew him closer, even as he fought against it. William struggled to dismiss the thoughts that swirled in his mind. Each encounter with Lily deepened his connection to her and pulled him further from the path he had chosen. Moments before the ceremony began, William found himself standing alone on a balcony overlooking the gardens. He took a deep breath and closed his eyes, trying to calm the storm inside. Thoughts of duty surfaced, of family expectations, respect for tradition, and a promise to Evelyn. Yet these thoughts were soon overshadowed by vivid images of laughter shared with Lily, her eyes lighting up as she recounted stories from their time together. As guests gathered in anticipation below, William's heart raced at the thought of what lay ahead. The music played softly in the background, signaling that it was almost time to take his place at the altar. He felt a tightening in his chest as he realized that this was not just a wedding, it was a definitive moment that would shape his future. In that instant, William knew he stood at a crossroads. Should he follow through with his commitment to Evelyn, or should he acknowledge the unexpected love that had blossomed for her sister? The decision weighed heavily on him as he prepared to walk into a future that felt more uncertain than ever. As the final touches for the wedding were being placed, the atmosphere in the Crestwood estate was electric with anticipation. Guests mingled and laughter echoed through the halls, but William McAllister felt a heaviness in his heart that contrasted sharply with the joy around him. With each passing moment, he grew more restless, knowing he had to confront the truth that simmered beneath the surface. In the quiet of a sunlit room, William found himself alone with Lily as she adjusted her sister's veil before Evelyn made her grand entrance. The sight of her, radiant and full of life, made his heart ache. He could no longer ignore the feelings that had blossomed between them. "Lily," he began hesitantly, his voice barely above a whisper, "we need to talk." Lily turned to him, her expression shifting from playful curiosity to alarm. "What's wrong, William?" she asked, sensing the seriousness in his tone. Taking a deep breath, William stepped closer, battling the turmoil inside him. "I can't go through with this wedding without telling you how I feel." The words tumbled out, raw and unfiltered. "I care for you in a way I never expected. It's not just friendship anymore." Lily's eyes widened in disbelief, and for a moment, silence filled the room. She opened her mouth to respond but paused as Evelyn entered unexpectedly, her beautiful gown trailing behind her like a cloud of elegance. The atmosphere shifted immediately, tension hung thick between them. Evelyn's cheerful demeanor faltered as she sensed something was amiss. "What are you two talking about?" she asked, glancing between them with confusion. William's heart raced as he realized he had unintentionally put both sisters in an impossible situation. With every ounce of courage he could muster, he took a step back and looked at Evelyn. "I didn't want to hurt you," he said softly, his voice trembling. "But I can't pretend that I don't have feelings for Lily." Evelyn's face paled as she processed his words. Hurt flashed across her features, replaced quickly by anger and betrayal. "You're choosing my sister," she exclaimed, her voice rising. "How could you do this to me on our wedding day?" Feeling trapped between their emotions, William stood there helplessly as the reality of his situation crashed down around him. Both sisters were now looking at him, one with heartbreak and the other with confusion, and he knew that whatever happened next would change their lives forever. In that moment of truth, he felt the weight of his choices pressing down on him like never before. Evelyn stood in shock, her elegant wedding gown billowing around her like a cloud of betrayal. The words William had spoken echoed in her mind, each syllable piercing through the joyous atmosphere that had filled the estate only moments before. Her heart raced as she struggled to comprehend what she had just heard. "You have feelings for my sister?" The question slipped from her lips, laden with disbelief and pain. The realization hit her like a storm. This was not just a misunderstanding, but a profound betrayal on a day meant to celebrate their love. Anger bubbled beneath her surface, but it was quickly overshadowed by an overwhelming sense of hurt. She felt exposed and vulnerable, standing there in front of the man she was about to marry, who had now shattered her trust with one heartfelt admission. "William," she managed to say, her voice trembling with emotion. "How could you do this to me? To us?" As she looked at him, the man who had been everything she thought she wanted, all she saw was confusion mixed with regret. She had believed in their love, and now it felt like everything was unraveling before her eyes. While William's expression shifted from remorse to helplessness, Evelyn's anger transformed into determination. "I need you to leave," she said firmly, unable to hide the quiver in her voice. "I can't marry someone who loves another." With that statement, the weight of decision settled heavily on both of them. Lily stood nearby, unsure of how to navigate the emotional landscape that lay before them. She felt torn between loyalty for her sister and the connection she shared with William, for connection that seemed impossible yet undeniably real. For once, all the laughter they shared felt distant, shadows loomed over what should have been a moment of bliss. "Evelyn," Lily began softly, stepping forward in an attempt to bridge the widening gap between them. But Evelyn held up a hand, shaking her head vehemently. "No. You can't say anything right now," Evelyn exclaimed, tears brimming in her eyes. "This is between me and him." Turning back to William, her gaze hardened as she added quietly but firmly, "You need to figure out what you really want." As those words hung in the air like an unyielding fog, Evelyn retreated from the room filled with colorful decorations and guests waiting outside for the ceremony that would never happen as planned. In that moment of heartbreak and confrontation, both sisters faced their new reality, a reality none of them were prepared for. William McAllister stood alone in the quiet of his ranch office, the weight of his decision pressing down on him like a heavy yoke. The chaos of the wedding day had faded into a haunting silence, leaving him wrestling with feelings that had turned his once clear path into a foggy maze. Outside, the sun dipped low on the horizon, casting long shadows across the land he had worked tirelessly to cultivate. His mind raced as he replayed the events of the last few hours, the heart-wrenching confrontation with Evelyn and Lily's shocked expression when he confessed his feelings. How could he have let it come to this? He had always been a man of duty, a cattle baron respected for his business sense and commitment to family traditions. And yet here he was, torn between society's expectations and an unexpected love that ignited something new within him. William couldn't ignore how deeply he cared for Lily. She represented freedom and joy in ways he'd never experienced before, her laughter resonating in his heart like a sweet melody. But what would people say if he chose her over Evelyn? The Crestwood family was well respected, and breaking off his engagement would not only bring shame upon himself but also hurt Evelyn, someone who had always stood by him, believing in their dreams together. As he paced the room, memories of Evelyn flooded back, her radiant smile, her unwavering support, and all their shared plans for the future. She deserved someone who could give her all without hesitation, not someone who felt torn between two worlds. Yet every time William closed his eyes, all he could picture was Lily, the way she danced under the stars as if no one were watching, and how she brought color to his life with her spirit. With a heavy sigh, William sank into a chair, burying his hands in his hair. His heart ached with guilt as doubt swirled around him. Could love really conquer tradition? Would choosing Lily mean sacrificing everything he'd built, or could it lead to a new beginning for them both? He knew he had to make a choice, and soon. As darkness settled outside, William felt an urgency rising within him. This wasn't just about love or loyalty, it was about carving out a life true to himself amid the expectations that loomed over him like dark clouds. Only time would reveal whether following his heart would lead to fulfillment or regret, a risk that came with its own set of consequences. The dilemma gnawed at him as night fell across silver horizon. Both sisters lay heavy on his heart as he prepared to face whatever awaited him at dawn. The news of William's confession spread like wildfire, igniting tensions between the Crestwood and McAllister families. What had been a day of celebration quickly turned into a battleground of emotions, with relatives and friends taking sides in this unexpected drama. Evelyn's parents, deeply hurt by the betrayal, felt the sting of humiliation rip through their family's reputation. Her mother, Margaret Crestwood, wept openly, clutching her husband's arm as she lamented the loss of her daughter's dreams. "How could you allow this to happen?" she cried, directing her anguish at William's family. "You promised us loyalty and love." On the other hand, William's parents struggled to find the right balance between support for their son and maintaining their family's good name. "This could ruin you, William," his father admonished, pacing the living room with a frown etched on his face. "Think of everything we've worked for. Our standing in the community depends on this union." As the arguments escalated, both families found themselves divided. Some relatives sided with Evelyn, feeling she deserved someone who would honor their engagement wholeheartedly. Others quietly expressed sympathy for William, believing he had a right to pursue happiness, even if it meant choosing Lily over his betrothed. Lily stood at a distance, caught in the crossfire of familial loyalty and the emotional turmoil around her. She wanted to comfort Evelyn but felt guilty for her own feelings toward William. The sisters had always shared a close bond, yet now it felt fragile and strained under the weight of betrayal. "This isn't just about you two anymore," Evelyn snapped at Lily during one particularly heated moment. "You've ruined everything I was looking forward to. Can't you see how much he cares for me?" Lily retorted, her voice trembling with frustration and sorrow. "This isn't something either of us planned. I didn't ask for these feelings." The clash of voices reverberated through the halls as friends abandoned hushed conversations for heated debates about loyalty and love. Some guests prepared to leave in indignation while others argued passionately about what should happen next. Amidst all this chaos, William felt lost. The pressure mounted from both sides as he realized that no matter what choice he made, someone would be hurt in the end. As family loyalties hung by a thread, he understood that this moment would not only define his future but also reshape the relationships that had once seemed unbreakable. In that tense atmosphere filled with accusations and tears, everyone involved braced themselves for an impending storm, one that threatened to change everything they had once held dear. As the tension in the room reached a boiling point, William McAllister felt an overwhelming surge of clarity amid the chaos. The weight of expectations and traditions pressed heavily on him, but in that moment, surrounded by disapproving glances and hushed whispers, he knew what he had to do. He took a deep breath, his heart pounding, as he stepped forward to face the assembled guests. "Enough!" William's voice rang out like a clarion call, cutting through the murmurs and arguments that had engulfed the space. All eyes turned toward him, some filled with shock, others with anger. He could see both families staring back at him, waiting for him to choose a side. I cannot stand here any longer pretending that everything is as it should be. Evelyn's eyes widened with disbelief as she searched his face for the man she thought she knew. The room fell silent as William's gaze shifted to Lily, who stood at the edge of the gathering, her expression a mix of hope and fear. "Lily," he continued, his voice softening, "you have brought joy into my life in ways I never thought possible. From the moment we met, you've shown me what it means to truly live and love." Gasps echoed from the crowd as William stepped closer to Lily, taking her hands in his own. "I know this is not how things are supposed to be," he said earnestly, "but I can no longer deny my feelings for you. I choose you." Evelyn's face blanched as every word struck like daggers in her heart. She had envisioned this day so differently, filled with joy and love, and now it was crumbling before her very eyes. "William," she pleaded weakly, "you can't mean this." "I do," he replied firmly but gently. "I refuse to live a life dictated by tradition when my heart is leading me elsewhere." The resolve in his voice rang true as he faced both families head-on. "I cannot marry Evelyn knowing my heart belongs to her sister." The tension in the room shifted dramatically, some guests were stunned into silence while others whispered among themselves in disbelief or approval. William felt a rush of freedom wash over him as he finally broke free from societal chains that had held him back. "I understand if you cannot accept my decision," he added steadily, looking around at family members who had once supported him unconditionally. "But I must follow my heart, for once in my life." As he held Lily's gaze, he saw reflected back the same courage that had inspired him to make this bold declaration. Together they faced the uncertainty ahead, their love would stand strong against whatever trials lay before them. In that moment of truth and clarity, William understood that stepping away from tradition was not an end but rather a new beginning, a chance to embrace a future filled with love and authenticity. In the weeks following the dramatic confrontation, both Evelyn and Lily found themselves on paths of personal reflection and growth. The initial shock of William's declaration had left a heavy cloud hanging over their relationship, but as time passed, they began to process the emotional upheaval that had shaken their lives. Evelyn, though heartbroken, realized she needed to confront her feelings. Instead of allowing bitterness to consume her, she turned inward, seeking solace in her family and close friends. Long conversations with her mother helped her understand that while love is important, self-respect and happiness must also take precedence. With each passing day, Evelyn started to reclaim her sense of identity beyond being William's fiancée. She immersed herself in her hobbies, rediscovering a passion for painting that had long been overshadowed by wedding plans. Through art, she found a way to express her heartbreak and gradually transformed it into something beautiful. Meanwhile, Lily struggled with the guilt of having drawn William's affections away from her sister. She often replayed their shared moments in her mind, the laughter, the stolen glances, and tried to reconcile them with the pain Evelyn was enduring. In an effort to mend their relationship, she reached out to Evelyn one afternoon for a heartfelt conversation. "I never wanted this," she confessed tearfully. "I loved seeing you happy with him." Evelyn listened intently as Lily spoke about her feelings for William, how unexpected it had been and how much she had truly valued their sisterly bond above all else. After a long silence filled with vulnerability, Evelyn took a deep breath. "I know you didn't ask for this either," she replied softly. "It's not your fault." This moment marked a turning point for both sisters. They chose compassion over resentment. As the seasons changed outside their window, so did their relationship. They grew closer through shared activities, cooking together in the kitchen or going on long walks through the blooming meadows near their home. They learned to communicate openly and support each other's journeys toward healing. Eventually, both sisters found new paths illuminated before them. Evelyn decided to pursue a career in art therapy, helping others heal through creativity, a way of channeling her own experiences into something positive. Meanwhile, Lily explored opportunities at local charities focused on youth programs, finding fulfillment in guiding young girls towards empowerment. Though the chapter involving William was filled with heartache for both sisters, it ultimately led them toward personal growth and an unbreakable bond forged through understanding and forgiveness. As they stood side by side one sunny afternoon in the garden where so much had changed, they smiled at each other with newfound strength, ready to embrace whatever life held next while knowing they would always have one another's backs.